Well, welcome back to Justin with Sammie Wells and Tommy Scott. I'm your host, Adriana Lamar. All right, so Cam Newton is recently going viral due to a heckling situation at one of his camps. Did you guys see this video?
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately, yes. So give me your thoughts, Sam.
I just thought, this kid, what is this kid doing? Why are you being so disrespectful to a former MVP and drafted first in his draft class? He's sponsoring the camp that you're participating in, and you're going to heckle him, talking about he's going to be a free agent? He has made over $100 million, and your idea is to heckle a man that's helping you with your ability and talent, and you're going to heckle him saying you're a free agent. You're a free agent. And Cam Newton did go down to his level to say, I'm rich. I'm rich. But then he said, oh man, I'm talking to a kid. So where's your father? Where's your father? So I think Cam Newton handled it perfectly. Just the part of I'm rich I didn't like, but I'm just thinking, like, this kid, like, you can learn so much from this man. He can hook you up with opportunities if he likes what he sees from you, and you're going to heckle him saying you're a free agent. You're a free agent. It's just, I mean, it's just like kids today are not appreciative about the opportunities that they're even at this camp, that they're even at the camp. Cam Newton didn't have to show up at all. He didn't have to show up at all. He came out because he wanted to help out. And this was in Carolina. And he's helping out. And it's just like, come on, man. You know better. And I'm not going to mention the kid's name. I'm not going to mention the kid's name because he is a kid. But you need to do better.
Yeah, I mean it's not suspicious, but it's you wonder about judgment. If you see Cam Newton and the first thought in your mind is I'm going to be disrespectful, it just makes you wonder, like, what's going on with you, you know? I mean, I know kids at his age range are prone to emotional outbursts that sometimes come across as disrespectful and whatever, but there is sort of an entitlement and a lack of self-discipline that I think a lot of times we as a society are failing to instill in our kids. And this, to me, it's almost along the same lines as the participation trophy, where it's like, as long as you show up, you've done a good job. And it's like, no, you have requirements when you're there too, right? And it's to be it's to be respectful. And to me, it's irrelevant that Cam Newton was a first draft pick and he has $100 million. He's an adult who is there to help you, who has lived this life, 2, 3 times longer than you, and has something to share with you, even if it wasn't football. And you're sort of disregarding that so that you can do what? Show out in front of your friends, say some nonsense that you heard from some other adult to this other, like, at this age, you barely even know what you're talking about. And it's like, that's your first instinct, is to go out and disrespect this grown man here to help you. Like, I don't understand it.
He got his 15 minutes of fame, but he got the 15 minutes of fame to just coach. He got coaches that are probably going to look at him and just say, I'm not going to be bothered with that dude. Because a lot of coaches is going to be like, hey, I'd rather take a good player that has a good attitude than a player that is a superstar that have a bad attitude.
I mean, we've mentioned this, but that's how I feel about DeMarcus Cousins. Like, I can't even stand to watch him play sometimes because his attitude just takes over the whole court.
I would say that I do hope, I say I do wish and hope that that's not the case. And the reason why is Marcus Cousins is a grown man. This kid's a kid, and like we've talked about it before. The idea of the cancel culture, you did something I don't like, so you got to go, is ridiculous because you got a kid that, let's be honest, Sam, he did something that you and I did multiple times. had people come and call us on the carpet and say, should you have done that? And at that moment, you stare in the corner like you do in math. Then you come back and you go, actually, I should not have done that. And they say, I know that.
He did apologize.
And I apologize. And they say, I know that. I knew that we'd get here. But I want to point out to you that we're here. Because those are the moments, that's the transition when, when little boys say, what do I need to do to be a man? These moments you have to learn from. But in order to learn from it, you have to do it. So while it's like, yeah, it was rude, it was disrespectful, definitely not something you want to repeat. The idea that this thought pops into this kid's head and then he said it was one of those that whether I'm looking for attention, whether I'm doing for whatever, whatever the reason is, there's a certain level of, courage and gumption in there where it's like, these are good qualities to have, better control what good qualities to have. So when it comes to kids, like it's this balance, right? But then when you look on the flip side, you look at Cam, Cam's thinking what every other grown man in the world was thinking, which was, I ought to walk over there and just punch you in the face. because look, and if all things were even, and this was back in the days of John Wayne and the Cowboys, I think he walked right over there, pop. We don't live in that world anymore, so you can't do that. And so, Cam, get into it, and look, he didn't hurt the kid. It's like, look, the kid doesn't understand where it's like, okay, I'm a free agent. I've already kind of made my money here. I'm having fun. I'm still making money. So, and in case you didn't know, there's a lot of players that opt for free agency so they can make more money.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that education thing. But for Cam to circle back around to it later and to address that in a different setting when, the hype and everything is settled down, and you have people's attention, now you can pull somebody on the carpet and say, well, let's break down your behavior. Let's consider what you said and how this really impacts. And, what I've, especially in my own experience with my own 12-year-old child, the worst punishment in the world for him is to put him in a situation where he has to think about his behavior. Because suddenly, as he's got to think about it, he goes, oh, and,
there's nothing you can do at this point.
There's certain parents in the world who raise their kids like, hey, I did the thinking for you. It's like kids got to learn how to think somewhere. And, whether that's your dad calling you out, basically being like, look, are you dumb? Because I don't think you're dumb. I ain't raising no dumb kids, but you're doing dumb shit right now. And then the rest of them doing the same thing. And so it's kind of one of these where, it's a rough situation. It's funny. It's a Facebook meme. But hopefully the kid will learn something from it valuable. But I will say this, just in general, as a society, this is an example of that meme that's been going around that Facebook has a lot of people thinking they can say whatever they want without getting punched in the face. This is an example of that.
Yeah. Well, I understand. Tommy, I understand that, the kid is going to learn from this incident.
We hope
did
the kid is going
apologize.
to learn from this incident. We hope.
Well, he did apologize, and he did have a bunch of, almost the whole world, comment as far as how disrespectful he was, and
yes. Hopefully he learns from it and doesn't become bitter by it. Because look, we all take it on the chin sometimes. It's just the way that it goes. And if you're gonna let that cause you to be bitter, I can tell you right now, you walked out the door day one and you've already failed. It's like you're gonna mess up. We're all gonna mess up. People are gonna be mad at us. People are gonna love us today, hate us tomorrow, love us the day after that. Stuff happens. All right, learn from it, do better next time, keep pushing forward. I hope he's got that mindset of forward. Okay, yes, it's here. People say whatever they want to on the internet. Who cares? Now I'm gonna move forward in this manner because this is what's gonna serve me the best. Well, that's my hope for youth in general, by the way, not just him, but just kids.
Well, yeah, I understand. Like what I was saying is that a lot of since he did that, since he got his 15 minutes of fame, a lot of coaches now, not saying probably years when he's grown up, probably going to college. I'm just saying, as far as now, a lot of coaches, if there was a camp that he was going to join, they may hold that against him that, oh, you're the kid that came against Cam Newton, was talking smack to Cam Newton.
Yeah,
Oh
I mean,
no, I don't want you at my camp.
this situation aside, there's always consequences, right? Whether they're positive or negative to every lesson
Right.
you learn. So yeah, sure, there will be people who will look at this and be like, I don't even want to try. And there probably will be people who are like, hey, if he's remorseful and he's learned
Right.
from this experience, then we'll give him a chance. But this is the problem with, like you mentioned, Tommy, you know, we've all had our moments when we were disrespectful, but that was before they were videotaped. Now you have to consider that, yes, Facebook and social media in general.
Yet, no matter what lie we told, our parents seem to have like had the video. They weren't even. They were hours away, and they could see the whole thing in their head.
Right. So I know exactly what you did and why you did it, right? But now, you know, social media is giving these kids the impression that it's okay, that I can pop off and there's like no consequences because they only see the 30-second clip. They don't understand that there's all this stuff that happens afterwards. But that's the world we live in. So you might have a moment of a lack of self-discipline that costed you 30 seconds, but actually, no, that's going to cost you however long it takes. It could be 30 minutes, 30 days, 30 years. This is the world we live in, and you don't get to claim that you're young and your hormones are doing whatever, or you were trying to impress a girl. Like, that doesn't matter to anybody, right? It's about the impact that you made in those 30 seconds and how long that impact is going to affect you. So
And you know, one thing I'll say, if this message was to get to them, is I'd say one of the key components that everybody looks for when they say, so we like you, but I remember you had this incident. Tell me about that.
right.
What they want to know is they want to know that you've thought about it, which means that you need to be able to, in English, write down and describe what you did, why you did it at the time, why you changed your mind about whether it should have been done, and what it is you learned, i.e., what are you putting in place in your brain to minimize the likelihood of that happening again? Because when you can describe those things in English, what it's going to do is let the person on the other end, the receiving end of the conversation, know that you didn't just, I got my hand slapped, so I shouldn't do that again. What it's saying is like, no, I actually thought about this well enough to describe it. Anything like that, it's like tying your shoes.
Well, and
it's your brain, you can do it, but
you hear from people too, oh, I don't, that's the past, it's over, I don't want to talk about that. And it's like, okay, well, right now you're showing that you haven't grown and moved on from it if you can't even talk about it right now.
And that's the thing is, when people say, well, that was my past, I don't want to get into it, you have to understand who you're talking to, because for a lot of time, pretty much for all of us, no matter who you are, it turns out that the only way people know us is through our past. Nobody knows the future.
Well, and we are the sum of our past experiences. So it's not irrelevant. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like it's very relevant because
oh, that's not the
everything's in
scope
your
for
past.
this conversation.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how it works. Sorry.
No, not at all.
But okay, so while we are on the subject of Cam Newton, there is a question that has been, kind of coming out here and there, and that question is, from a Cam Newton or Jameis Winston perspective, who do we think is better?